The situation in the Zaporizhzhia direction of the front, in the area of the village of Rabotino, continues to be ambiguous. After the loss of Avdiivka by the armed forces of Ukraine, the Russian army took advantage of the favorable moment and the shock state of the Ukrainian General Staff, and went on the offensive against enemy positions in all directions of the front. Over the next few days, Russian troops managed to take control of quite extensive territories to the west of Avdiivka, as well as significantly improve their positions in the Bakhmut and Vuhledar directions of the front. A significant advance of Russian troops was also recorded in the Zaporizhzhia direction of the front, near and directly in the village of Rabotino. Moreover, war correspondents from both sides confirmed the fact that about 60% of the territory of Rabotino is already under the control of Russian troops. Everything that was happening indicated that soon this village would come under the full control of the Russian army, as a result of which all those meager achievements of the armed forces of Ukraine would be completely reset. Yes, even Western analytical centers have recognized the fact that in the event of the loss of the village of Rabotino, all the so-called achievements of the armed forces of Ukraine during the summer counteroffensive, when the small village was captured at the cost of tens of thousands of lives of Ukrainian soldiers, will be completely nullified. However, judging by what is happening now in the area of the village of Rabotino, it becomes clear that the Ukrainian High Military Command has fully recovered from the shock of previous defeats, and has begun to do everything possible to prevent the breakthrough by the Russian army in this sector of the front. So, according to war correspondents, the Ukrainian High Military Command continues to throw its last reserves into battle in the area of the village of Rabotino. Moreover, General Sersky even threw combat-ready units of the Ukrainian army into battle, which at the time of General Zaluzhny, were responsible for the security of the Ukrainian capital. In addition, it was confirmed that the Ukrainian army is trying to seize the initiative on the battlefield with the help of FPV drones and artillery duels. Thus, even Western analytical centers have recognized the fact that the armed forces of Ukraine, at least in this sector of the front, do not have any problems with the shortage of artillery shells, drones, and self-propelled guns. Moreover, it became known that the commander of the group of troops of the armed forces of Ukraine under the designation Tavria, Brigadier General Alexander Tarnavsky, gave the order to mine the vast territories between Rabotino and Orikhiv. War correspondents note that the Ukrainian command mines everything that is possible, even those territories that are behind the Ukrainian soldiers. In addition, General Tarnavsky began to pull not only Western heavy equipment into the Rabotino area, but also the so-called NATO assault groups, which consist of well-trained foreign mercenaries and Ukrainian soldiers, who have received military training in the armies of NATO countries. All this indicates that the Ukrainian army intends not only to stop the advance of Russian troops in the area of the village of Rabotino, but even to go on the offensive. In this regard, the Russian High Military Command decided to strike at the village of Chervonoy, in order to draw off part of the Ukrainian army's strength from the Rabotino area. This maneuver allowed the Russian command not only to slightly unload the front in the area of the village of Rabotino, but also to bring into battle the main forces of the most classified Russian Spetsnaz under the designation OSMAN. Any information about this Russian Spetsnaz is strictly classified. Even US intelligence knows almost nothing about the Russian Spetsnaz OSMAN. In open sources, you can only find out that Spetsnaz OSMAN was created in 2009, and that this Spetsnaz is a unique military unit of the ground forces of the Russian army, combining the functions of electronic intelligence battalions, airborne assault units, and scouts of the Army Special Forces of the Russian Federation. It is reliably known that small groups of Spetsnaz OSMAN took an active part in the fighting in the area of the village of Rabotino in the summer of 2023. And now, in March 2024, the Russian High Military Command has thrown the main forces of this elite Spetsnaz into battle. And the result was not long in coming. Over the past 96 hours, Russian Spetsnaz have managed to destroy not only one of the NATO assault teams, but also dozens of US infantry fighting vehicles, along with 2 German Leopard tanks. In addition, Russian Spetsnaz managed to stabilize the situation in Rabotino itself and stop the onslaught of the armed forces of Ukraine from the north. Moreover, the armed forces of Ukraine were also thrown back behind the Dragon's Teeth and Moat, which marked the first echelon of defense of the so-called Surovikin line. According to the latest information, right now, the main action is taking place in the center of Rabotino, near the local school. It is also worth noting the statements of Russian soldiers, who are directly involved in the battles for Rabotino. According to them, in Rabotino, the armed forces of Ukraine began to actively use destroyed heavy equipment as strongholds. Russian soldiers claim that they were shocked by the fact that Ukrainian soldiers began to establish strongholds under the damaged tanks. According to one of the commanders of a unit of Russian troops, such strongholds of the armed forces of Ukraine are detected and destroyed within a few minutes, and mostly inexperienced newly mobilized soldiers are located in these strongholds, since an experienced soldier would never agree to stay in a stronghold under a damaged tank or infantry fighting vehicle. The Russian commander also added that the Ukrainian command, by such actions, has once again proved that it does not care about the lives of its soldiers, and that the Ukrainian generals are ready to do anything to slow down the advance of the Russian army.